Hey Eurovision fans, it's Tom coming to you from Istanbul and I'm back for another Eurovision analysis video. Today I'm going to be giving you a breakdown of the first semi-final of Eurovision 2023. I'm going to go through all the numbers for you and explain what were the stories of the semi-final, what happened, why did some countries qualify and why did others not, and what are some of the strange interactions that happened. So let's kiki. So as you may have picked up from that intro, I am currently in Istanbul. Don't worry, I am going to do a video explaining why that is, because that is slightly unusual. Also, my glasses are a little bit wonky. Sorry about that. I was sleeping on my bed, rolled over on top of them and kind of squashed them out of place. So today I'm going to be going through the first semi-final. Obviously, it's a little bit different from my previous semi-final analysis videos because we had the televote and the jury, so there was a lot of comparison between the two, whereas here we've just got the televote. I will eventually do a comparison between the final and the semi-finals in terms of what changed, but I'll do that in my final video. This is going to be the first in a series of 3, this and then semi-final number 2, and then I'll do the grand final last. So first of all, let's take a quick look at the actual rankings within the semi-final. So Finland won the semi-final, Sweden were second, and Israel were third. So these are actually the top 3 countries in the actual final, obviously in a different order because Sweden won and Finland came second. So that kind of ties in with what a lot of us were talking about beforehand about this being the stronger semi-final. That's pretty good proof that this was the stronger semi. On top of that as well, if you add in that Norway came 5th, that means 4 of the top 5 came from the semi-final. Obviously, Italy being in 4th place was that last country. So in 4th place was Czechia, a really great result for them considering that at one point a lot of us were thinking, is this a borderline non-qualifier after what happened in the pre-parties? They really turned things around. Czechia delegation have made some really excellent decisions in recent years. I feel like Czechia and Belgium were 2 of the countries that have been doing really well recently, but possibly not getting like a huge amount of attention for it, kind of like very consistently qualifying. Czechia got top 10 with this, also with Miklas Josef as well, and then Belgium getting top 10 this year with Gustav in 7th. So yeah, Czechia delegation are really good. I'm wishing for an earlier confirmation that they're going to be in Eurovision next year. Obviously they confirmed quite late this year. 5th was Moldova, 6th for Norway. A little bit surprising considering she was actually 3rd in the final televote, so gaining popularity between the semis and then could possibly be due to this being having a little bit more mainstream appeal. Also maybe her final performance being a little bit stronger than the semi-final show. Switzerland in 7th, Croatia in 8th. Someone leaked fake jury results after the first semi-final was finished and they actually put Croatia first, so nice to know that those results were super fake. Portugal in 9th with 74 points and Serbia in 10th with 37. So this really small gap between Serbia and Latvia, which I'm going to go into detail a little bit more later. Latvia with 34 points, so really super close, only 3 points away. And then there's a big drop from 11th down to 12th, Ireland with 10 points. So yes, technically Ireland came 12th and this is technically our best result in quite a while, but points wise 10 points is not massively something to write home about. Yeah, really this semi-final was quite extreme in how the points were laid up. I actually had a post on Twitter before rehearsals started talking about what was the minimum amount of points that you could qualify with. I was going to do a video about it, but I ran out of time. Basically you can qualify with 7 points. It's a very extreme situation, but if you had 9 countries who basically were the top 9 with everybody, theoretically a country could qualify with only 7 points. The expected 10th place for the semi-final based on previous ones was 46 points. It ended up being 37, and that's a testament to the fact that a lot of countries in the semi-final just got points from everybody. So Finland, Sweden, Israel, Czechia and Moldova all received points from every single country. Norway and Switzerland in 6th and 7th got points from everyone but 1 country, and then Portugal in 9th got points from everyone but 2 countries. So you really did have these 9 countries who just sucked up a lot of points. They were just kind of a tiny bit in their own league. And Serbia in 10th actually had half of the amount of points that Portugal did. So Portugal had 74, Serbia had 37. So yeah, quite this like big drop down to the other 6. And even with the other 6, you have this like mini island of Serbia and Latvia on 37 and 34, and then this big drop again down to the rest. So this generally just shows, look, if you want to be successful and qualify in Eurovision, you need to have this broad appeal. So look, these countries are getting points from every single person, regardless of cultural background or diaspora or whatever. People are just seeing the performance, just saying, this is great, we're going to vote for this no matter where we're from, whatever our background is, and it's going through. So that's the strategy you need to go for. So to put that in perspective, those top 9 countries sucked up 91.4% of the points despite being only 60% of the countries. 9 out of 15 is 60%. So now you would obviously expect it to be a little bit more than 60% because these are the countries who did better, but almost 92% is like a huge amount of the points suck. Keep in mind, with a bigger semi-final, you would expect the top 9 or 10 to have less of the points because there's more people. So I do think that's partly due to the fact that the semi-final was quite small, but still 92% for the top 9 that's a lot of point sucking. And we can also see that with the top 3. So if you look at Serbia, they only had one top 3 placing, and that was second place with Croatia. And then Latvia also had one top 3 placing, and that was with the rest of the world vote. Actually, they came third, which is really sweet. I like that thought of people all around the world seeing Latvia from the 4th running order slot and saying, this is lovely, we're going to give this loads of points. So that really sums it up. The main issue for Serbia and Latvia, one top 3 placing each, and then the bottom 4, Ireland, Netherlands, Azerbaijan and Malta, none of them able to finish in the top 3 of anybody's jury. So there's just some real big hitters here sucking up the 12, 10s and 8s, and then these 5, 6 countries at the bottom just kind of fighting over the scraps that are left over. That was the kind of one of the main stories of the semi. Interestingly, if you swap that 10 that Serbia got and the 8 that Latvia got, so take 2 points off Serbia, give 2 points to Latvia, Latvia would have qualified. Serbia really getting through by the skin of their teeth. Qualification is a qualification. At the end of the day, Serbia maintained their record of never being outside of the top 11 in a semi-final ever. The 2 times they didn't qualify, once was through the jury rule, and another time they came 11th. So Serbia had this like also very epic semi-final record that they're maintaining. 13th place for Netherlands, that was obviously kind of disappointing for them. But yeah, look, the difference between 13th and 12th is only 3 points, so they're not far off. Azerbaijan with 4 and Malta with 3. So future time here, I'm going to be popping in a couple of times during the video to make a couple of extra comments. So regarding Netherlands, I know there's been a big reaction in Netherlands already from them losing their qualification streak of 5. In general, I don't think they should be looking to change their system too much. It's worked really, really well for them. Obviously, they've had a lot of top 11 finishes, plus common limits came second, and they won in 2019. There does seem to be a big concern that there's not enough transparency in the system, and possibly there's a bit too much nepotism. So I think that there could be some small improvements made to the system in general. And yeah, I do agree that maybe the Dutch songs are sounding a little bit samey. Perhaps it would be fun to have something a little bit more happy and joyful. The Dutch songs are a little bit on the more depressing side. Also, I'd love if they went back to Dutch as well. One of my favorite things about the Diepte last year was the fact that it was in the Dutch language. For Azerbaijan, I'm really curious about what they're going to do next year. So this year felt a little bit experimental, trying to send an act that wrote the song themselves with this kind of like different feel. So I'm totally fascinated to see, was that a once-off thing? Are they going to go back to their kind of more pop roots where they usually buy a song from Sweden and then give it an Azeri flair? Or are they going to continue and press on to try and come up with this new strategy? The new strategy, I feel, is more likely to lead to them actually winning again. I don't think they're ever going to win if they keep with the buying songs from Sweden tactic. I feel like that tactic is good for kind of qualifying, coming mid-table, possibly top 10. But I think if they really want to like actually win, they'll probably need to come up with a little bit more of a grassroots strategy to do that. A big thing for me here is how low some of these points are at the bottom. Now, this is one of the big things between jury and televote. When you have the televote, because you've got more people voting, you tend to get a little bit more of a consensus, an agreement on who are the better or more popular songs. Whereas when you use a jury, minority voices are heard more often. So someone who might just absolutely love Malta on a jury can put it first and it'll get some points, whereas a small group of people liking Malta in a big country, it's just not going to register. Look, I'm not saying I'm against the televote in the semi-finals. I think there are advantages to it. For example, we saw no televote zeros in the final this year, which was really nice, after what happened in 2021 where we had 4 of them from the automatic qualifiers. But one of the downsides definitely of the televote is this effect where the bottom 4 countries there have 24 points, which is crazy low. So if you've got delegations who are working for 3-4 months, pouring their hearts and souls into their entry, I'm thinking of Malta in particular here, 3 points for Malta is pretty freaking devastating with the amount of love and effort and thought that they put into that performance, and then to kind of feel that you're getting just paid absolute dust for that. I don't think it's good psychologically for these delegations. Malta would never withdraw. They really do absolutely love Eurovision, but it's just a bit of a slap in the face for when you put so much work in and then do so badly. And I know that a lot of the Maltese commenters here say that there's already a perception in Malta that they can never do well with the televote. You know, Destiny did well in the semi-final, but then she didn't do well in the final. It's just got to be careful, because if they get so disheartened, maybe they will actually start panicking a little bit if they really do feel like there's no way for them to qualify anymore. You know, it's the first year. We'll have to wait and see what does the EBU make decision-wise about how the semi-final is going to be next year. Look, there's pros and cons. I would love if they could find like a little bit of a mix in a system or something like that. Maybe there was a greater percentage for the televote, like 75-25. I'm just coming up with ideas off the top of my head. But I do like this, the idea of a stronger televote effect in the semis. And obviously with one fell swoop, it gets rid of the jury rigging issue, which was the reason why they did it in the first place. But yeah, 3 points for Malta, 4 points for Azerbaijan. It's 7 for Netherlands, 10 for Ireland. It's just not a good look. Another disadvantage of the televote is definitely running order. We saw that again this year. We had 4 songs qualify from the first half and 5 songs qualifying from the second half. This is a pattern that we've seen continually now. Of the 30 semi-finals that we've had since 2008, where we've had the 2 semi-final system, only 2 of them have had more songs qualify from the first half of that semi. That is crazy low, and I think the televote does make that a little bit worse. One of the things the jury can do is they will watch every single song. They can account a little bit for songs that come earlier. So if we continue with this televote only system in the semi-finals, that is definitely something that needs to be considered. Being drawn first half decreases your chances of qualifying by around 10 to 15%, and that's really crappy because it's so random and luck based. So yeah, televote only just doesn't account for that. That is why I hope this system can be refined a little bit more. So in terms of 12s in the semi-final, Finland won it. They had 7. Israel had 4, and they actually won the rest of the world vote, which was quite interesting. And they got more of their 12s kind of from Eastern Europe, Moldova, Czechia, and Azerbaijan. So it was interesting that that had to be. I was actually particularly surprised by Czechia, because every time we see the Czechia jury in a national final, they tend to pick something that's the least produced and the least like rehearsed looking. I suppose that's the Czech jury, whereas this is the Czech televote. So I have to admit, I'm not very good at predicting what the Czech televote is. Also, one thing to factor in is, was the jury used for any of these countries? That information hasn't been divulged yet. If you don't have a valid televote, then your backup jury is used. A valid televote might happen because you don't have enough numbers, or there's too many irregularities or something like that. And we know in the past that Czechia have had low televote numbers. Could that be the case? I don't know. We also had 2 12s for Moldova, Portugal, and Sweden. So Sweden doing a little bit less 12s, but then again, Sweden had the second most amount of top 3. So coming first, second, or third, they had 9 of those, which after Finland was the most. So although it didn't win the most 12s, it was like consistently popular across the board. Croatia getting a 12 from Serbia. Again, that was something that people were talking about in the comments of my Let 3 videos, was how is this going to go down, because the image of a tractor has some very negative connotations with some Serbs in regarding to their shared history in the 90s. So some of the Serbian people were saying, oh, they didn't think that Serbia would give the 12. In the end, I think it showed that you can vote people up, but you can't vote them down. So those people who either didn't have those connotations or just saw the tractor metaphor for what it was in regards to Lukashenko, just said, okay, we're voting for it. Very similar language, so they understood the lyrics and whatnot. Obviously, the people who didn't enjoy that tractor metaphor weren't able to vote it down. So interesting that in the end, Serbia gave their 12 to Croatia, and then Finland giving their 12 to Czechia. Czechia actually doing really well. Their lowest point was 2 Malta. So that their lowest ranking was 9th out of 15 out of all the countries. That's really excellent. A real compliment to how great that show was. So with those 10 qualifiers and those 5 non-qualifiers, let's see how that affected each country's qualification streak. So Sweden are up to plus 10 now, 10 qualifications in a row. Plus they've got automatic qualification next year, so they will obviously definitely be in the final. Their qualification streak will stay as 10. I don't count it if it's an automatic into the final. That's still behind Ukraine though. Keep in mind, Ukraine have never not qualified. That record will be up next year, which I'm sure they will be very happy to defend. Norway are up to a 6 qualification streak, which puts them 3rd in the qualification streak rankings. Serbia up to plus 5, that puts them 4th. Switzerland, you wouldn't think about it, but Switzerland really strong. They've got a 4 qualification streak now, and that puts them 5th in the qualification rankings. We did lose a couple of the streaks. So Netherlands had a 5 qualification streak, and obviously they didn't qualify this year, so they've gone back to -1. And then Finland, Moldova, and Portugal all on +3 streaks. Again, so 4 of the countries with the strongest streaks, Sweden, Norway, Serbia, and Switzerland, are all in semi-final number 1. Again, another reason why semi-final 1 was considered a bit stronger. You have these delegations and countries who consistently are sending songs. They know how to qualify. They know what to do to get across the line. Yeah, if you're qualifying year after year, that's not a coincidence. That is good decision makings, good systems, various different reasons all coming together so that you have the right package to make it through. On the negative side of the scale now, this is two non-qualifications in a row for Malta. I don't think there'll be a panic stations yet, but definitely I think there's going to be some concern here over how do they get over the televote. Now, I thought The Busker was an extremely televote friendly song. Really fun, really enjoyable, very catchy. Possibly this was a running order thing, could also just be the strength of the semi-final. Another possibility is that when it came to fun, people just thought Garia was more fun. So The Busker were fun, but Garia was more fun. And it was more recent in their memories because The Busker were second in the running order and Garia was 15th. We also had this thing where the 3 people who did very well in the semi-final, Sweden, Finland and Israel, were all in the second half and all more recent. So a lot of attention put onto them. Could that be the reason why The Busker was forgotten? I don't know how to work this one out. They did so much worse than I was expecting. I actually put this through as a borderline yes, as a kind of last minute thing. I don't know why this did so badly. I have to admit, I'm a little bit, if you know reasons or you've got any theories, please do let me know. The only thing I can think of is that Finland smothered them by just being funner. And then Moldova was kind of fun as well, and so was Portugal. I still think it was a great entry, and I think Malta should be proud. So Ireland's streak going to -4. Now, I'm probably going to do a video in the off season going through all the things that are wrong currently in Ireland, because I don't think you can put it on just one thing. I think there's systematic problems at multiple levels. I'll probably do a video based on that and also some potential solutions as well. But yeah, look, this is not a coincidence that Ireland has only qualified once in the last 9 contests. There really are so many things that are just not going correctly. The whole thing stresses me out so much, I'll do it as a separate video. Very sad to see that Latvia are now -6. One thing I'll say is I thought this entry was absolutely gorgeous, and it's the closest they've been out of those 6 years, being 11th. I think Laura Rosado, I don't think her name's Laura Rosado. That sounds like food. Laura something, the girl from Brazil. Oh, her name is Laura Rosado. Okay. I don't know why I never cracked that it was food before. Yeah, Laura came 12th, so this is their best result since. It was an absolutely stunning entry. I think this is their best staging since Love Injected in 2015, which came 6th. So there's definitely progress here. The song was really deep. I've seen a lot of people who are absolutely and utterly in love with this. So I would take some heart if I was the Latvian delegation. I severely hope that they don't withdraw because I love Latvia in the competition. And I do like that despite the fact they're having continually bad results, they do really stick to an authentic identity. I don't feel like they've gone to getting songs from other countries or trying to go for like a big gimmick or anything like that. They're still just sending authentic Latvian music. I've just got a feeling that next year they're going to really break through. Perhaps they do need to change up their strategy a little bit more, look at the things that they did correctly this year, of which there were many, and improve on that further for next year. And I really hope we see them next year in the competition. Another very bizarre and unusual streak, so one of my friends on Twitter pointed out, is that the 3 last years that Netherlands haven't qualified, so 2012, 2015, and this year, are the years that Sweden won the final. This is a very bizarre juxtaposition of when Netherlands do bad, Sweden win. So Sweden and Netherlands have never been in the final together when Sweden have won. Sweden definitely rooting for Netherlands to non-qualify as soon as possible. And I'm joking, but yeah, that's a little bit of a weird lucky charm to have. Let's take a look at another slightly unusual thing. I took the votes from just the big 5 countries on their own and filtered them out to see those rankings. That's Germany, Italy and France in the semi-final. Is the winner of that mini vote is Moldova. Second place is Finland. Shared third place is actually Czechia and Portugal. So this is one of the things that people were saying to me in the comments of the semi-final when I was talking about who could qualify or not. People were saying that France were going to give Portugal big points, and they were correct because France gave Portugal their 12. So yeah, within that big 5, Portugal doing very well. And the interesting thing here is Sweden's actually 9th with the big 5. So they got 5 points, 4 points and 3 points from France, Germany and Italy respectively. So the big five almost putting Sweden out. And another interesting note about Italy is they are the only people who got every single qualifier right. So the 10 countries that they voted for were the 10 qualifiers. Now obviously only automatic qualifiers can get 10 out of 10 because qualifiers can't vote for themselves. But I still thought that was fun that Italy were the bellwether state for, if you follow American politics, they were the bellwether state for who was going to qualify. Let's have a look at this rest of the world vote, because this is one of the interesting things we were thinking about this year. We don't have a breakdown yet about where these people are from, what countries. That'll be really interesting to see. Obviously, if the EBU decides to reveal that, I will definitely do a video on it, because I'm very curious to see what countries are actually voting and watching Eurovision from outside of Europe, and then also to see what kind of songs they like. So Malta with 1 point, Serbia with 2, woo! 3 for Croatia, 4 for Moldova, 5 for Czechia, 6 for Portugal. I wonder, could that be a small influence from Brazil? There are like a significant portion of Brazilian voters, so obviously for them, they're going to be enjoying the performance, but they're going to be understanding the lyrics as well. The song has great lyrics, that's going to make it even stronger in their ears. 7 points for Sweden, 8 for Latvia. I've already spoken about this earlier, but I thought this was such a lovely, lovely, lovely thing. Latvia don't have a diaspora that I'm aware of. I think there's a large Latvian population in New York, but I don't think of Latvia as like the Irish. You know, Irish, we've got people all over the world. So actually funny that, considering that we got people all over the world, we got nothing in the rest of the world vote. You'd expect maybe we get something from America or Canada, where there's huge populations who have Irish descent, but no, they're done with us. That was too long ago. Finland came second and Israel coming first. Israel's performance was excellent. This might just be because of that. Could also be a slight effect of support from Jewish population. I'm not sure. Again, really hard to know how much of this is just people picking their favorites and how much of it is kind of like diaspora connections, because we don't really have the breakdown of how many people were voting from where. I would imagine there were quite a few people voting from the States, Mexico, Philippines, New Zealand. Yeah, I'd really love to see those numbers. I think it'd be so fascinating. A slightly unusual thing about the rest of the world vote for me was that Norway didn't get any points, because this has been in the viral top 50. I think this song has been doing pretty well in America, so that was really surprising that this didn't get any points. So I'm kind of obsessed with the rest of the world votes because they're so unpredictable. I actually quite like how fun it is, because some of the votes we kind of know, we don't know exactly how they're going to go, but we can guess it, you know. Whereas the rest of the world is like, I think it's a great addition. I think that's the one thing that I literally have no notes on. Rest of the world, perfect. I presume they're going to continue it. It's win-win. People feel more included. It's another revenue stream, which is a big issue right now, because we want North Macedonia, Bulgaria, Montenegro to come back, and obviously their biggest barrier is financial problems. So any extra revenue streams that come in that lightens the load on those countries, fantastic. So what's my favorite points giving out of the whole thing? I really love this 6 points that went from Azerbaijan to Latvia. There's something about that that's very heartwarming to me. I can't think of any conceivable connection between Azerbaijan and Latvia. I'm sure someone's going to tell me now that the Latvian brothers from Southern Lights, their father's Azerbaijani or something. That for me is the joy of Eurovision and countries coming together. Like Azerbaijan and Latvia are so different, and yet Azerbaijan saw this beautiful performance from Southern Lights and said, yes, that's our 5th favorite song, we're going to vote for it. They gave the most points to Latvia, other than that rest of the world vote that I've already spoken about. Yeah, something about that I just really, really enjoyed. So that's my favorite points giving from this semi-final. I'll obviously do the same thing when I do semi-final number 2. Okay, a couple of shout outs. Thank you to Nina K, Dev P, Alex Hodder, Absolute Artistry, which is a man. Another one from Yolanta. I'm assuming that I said your name right the first time. Dario G, John W, and also Lean Dirt Jan, who's also a regular commenter. Thank you to all those people for supporting me on PayPal. Your support is really appreciated. I will explain what this support is going to eventually when I do that video where I talk about myself. I don't really like talking about myself, which is why I keep delaying that video, but now I'm in Turkey, I do need to explain why I'm here. So yes, that video is coming very soon, but thank you to all those people for supporting me. It is really, really appreciated. And thank you to everyone who watches my videos and comments. That's also extremely appreciated support as well. Okay, now to get my glasses off because I don't have to read anything anymore. Okay, so let me know what you think about all the little things that I found in the semi-final. Did you find any other little juicy bits and secrets or anything else like that? Please leave a comment in the comment section down below letting me know what else you found. If you like this analysis video and you want to watch some more, I will leave a couple of them for you here. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in another Irish analysis video very soon. Goodbye.